Non mi Gesù.
Hey guys, we got a bit of a hot button issue for you this week. This is a question that always pops up whenever we're preaching the message. Because we preach the reality of our co-crucifixion, that the new has come and the old is completely gone, died away, people think that we are flippantly writing off inner healing. And some people think I made these broad stroke statements about inner healing programs just because I'm a young buck who doesn't really understand it. I haven't read all the books. Here's the fact, guys. I spent 10 years of my life obsessively devouring inner healing books, inner healing manuals, inner healing videos. I read books that were 3 inches thick multiple times over. I listened to cassette tape series that would make you want to vomit. Okay, I have gone through so many inner healing courses over and over. And as a matter of fact, I trained other inner healing counselors. I was reproducing myself as an inner healer. The fact is, I myself did not always understand the gospel. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't saved. I just didn't know what I was saved from. I didn't know that Christ had completely abolished the old man that I was trying to fix up. I thought that death to self was a daily process, just like 99% of legalists out there. Heck, my 800 number was 877 die daily. And that's still our 800 number today. I've just kept it because it reminds me that I didn't always understand grace myself. We can't get frustrated with people that don't understand the message because most of us did not understand the message our entire lives. Here's the thing. The fact is, I am not against, contrary to popular opinion, I am not against inner healing and deliverance. I just believe that I am already inner healed and delivered. And not from my 10 years of going through the cassette series. Here's the thing. Sanctification is not a process. It is a person. Where do you get that? The Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. He has become our sanctification. It is by realizing that we've already arrived. Then we begin to manifest it. We don't manifest it by trying to reaccomplish the facts. We manifest it by waking up to the facts. So many people start from the vantage point that they're broken and that they need healing. But the fact is, we must address the issue of identity, that whether we feel it or not, whether we know it or not, and especially whether we're acting like it or not, that has nothing to do with the facts. People have already been made whole. Faith comes before the manifestation. You need to know you're whole in order to manifest it. But when people always think that they're always going to be in process and that they're always going to be struggling, then what do you think they're going to manifest? If you always think you're a sinner, what do you think you're going to manifest? If you think that's who you are, then of course you're going to manifest sin. But if you believe that you are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus, if you believe you are altogether lovely, that you are altogether holy, 100%, then what do you think you're going to manifest then? Faith comes before the manifestation. You need to know who you are. This is a subtle, but it is a very massive difference that is overlooked by tons of ministries, and it keeps people constantly locked into this everlasting navel-gazing spiral of introspection and these inept attempts at self-improvement. You see, the gospel invalidates every ministry aimed at self-improvement. Your efforts are not necessary. As a matter of fact, all your efforts do are to preclude you from the grace that you already have. The thing is, people love the idol of controlling their own spirituality and distance and their own proximity toward God. And they always talk about getting closer to God and pressing into God and all this stuff. Because if you're getting closer to God at your own pace and your own willpower, that gets absolutely invalidated by the revelation that He's already made you one with Him. You are in union with Him. You see, you've already arrived. Not to mention, you see, you have all of these self-appointed gurus out there who are, and I was one of them, who thrive on keeping people codependent on their self-help packages. And it keeps people locked into this Romans 7 paradigm because they don't have a revelation on Romans 6. So it's a never-ending back and forth wrestling with an old man that no longer exists because they have no revelation that the old man died and was buried with Christ. In Romans 6, the point of a counselor should be to work himself out of a job, to show people that they really don't need him, to convince them, it's just to convince them of their identity so they realize they don't need the guru, they don't need the middleman. Identity releases a manifestation of wholeness. The funny thing is, we don't become whole by trying to become whole, but instead by trusting and realizing that he has already made us complete. But for some reason, people just refuse to believe that the gospel is enough. At least it's not enough for certain problem cases. And people that have really been into inner healing for years, they say, well, what about the person who has been raped or has been satanically, ritually abused? Or what about those extra traumatic cases? Surely they need a little bit of inner healing. And you know, I'll tell you, whether someone has been ritually abused or not, the antidote is always going to be the same. It's still the gospel. It's still the realization that that old broken self has been crucified with Christ. Compared to our original life in Eden, I guarantee you all of humanity has been ritually abused. His cross is still the answer to the problems. Of course, this does not diminish the need for us to talk through things with people at times, but 90% of success in the counseling room is just the fact that people needed a friend to hash through some things and communicate about some things where they had believed a lie. You see, we have to, it's not just that the truth sets us free, we have to know the truth, and the truth will set us free. We've got to know the reality that we've been set free. Tangible love breaks through those old mindsets in relationship as we're communicating with people, but it's still, the problem was just old mindsets, believing a lie. So in a sense, you see, people misunderstand and they think that we're saying there is no process. That is not what we're saying. Holiness is not a process, but there is a process. There's a process of renewing the mind to realize how holy we are. And you see, we've believed a crap load of religious lies and doctrines and ideas and things that have caused bad fruit in our lives. And so, yes, our minds do need to be reprogrammed. But it's not that our minds are dirty or that our minds are messed up. It's just that our minds have believed some lies. And we think that our soul needs all this cleansing. No, the fact is our minds are being renewed to the reality that it's already the mind of Christ, that we've already arrived. The fact is just that not all of our thoughts are from God. And we know that the church has not always preached the thoughts of God, and not all of our words have been from God. Okay, we haven't known the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is that we have already been restored to his very image and likeness through his finished work. So our minds are catching up to this, and our minds are being changed in repentance, in metanoia, the changing of our minds as we recognize his goodness, as we recognize our identity, as we recognize the reality that the saints were home before they started. But that is not healing. That is not inner healing. What that is it's waking up to the reality that we're already healed. And of course, there is, yes, a lifelong process of having our minds changed in that sense. And you say, well, we've seen, the fruit of our inner healing programs. A lot of people that have been in this for years, they say, look, we've seen tangible fruit, so you can't just write off our inner healing programs. Look, I don't doubt that you've seen fruit. Anytime you're walking somebody through something and they see where they've believed lies or they've had negative expectancies in their lives and you show them the truth, of course there's going to be fruit. I saw a lot of fruit too. God will meet people in anything. It doesn't mean that the whole package is directly from the Lord, all right? And whether we have our theology in order, look, God's still going to meet us. He meets people in Baptist churches, Methodist churches, Catholic churches. Heck, I'm sure God's met somebody in a Mormon church before, for crying out loud. He's met people in the nation of Islam, okay? He's met people in dreams and encounters all across the board despite our theology. He's always been reaching out to us even in our sinfulness, okay? And God blesses a lot of stuff that he himself does not even initiate. So that's one of the reasons we have so many churches out there. You think God initiated every church on the block? He meets people where they're at, and he meets us to the degree of our revelation. Look, he'll still meet us in those programs. But when progressive revelation comes along, when we realize that wholeness has already been accomplished even before the program, then the program is invalidated. One time I thought like a child, but now that revelation has come, now that maturity has come, the problem lies in our inherent feeling that we need to be fixed up. When in reality, we just need to start believing the truth. We don't need to be fixed fixed up. We just need to wake up. Wake up to the reality that you're already fixed up. I was a master prayer counselor, as we called it. I have been in the trenches. I am not speaking from a place of ignorance because I'm always traveling on the road and so I don't see real life situations. No, look, even in those days when I was in the trenches, the way that we usually broke through in a particular issue that was at hand in somebody's life, when we're in the little room and we're praying through things or whatever, was when we finally reckoned that that thing was dead on the cross. And after a while, I realized that reckoning the thing dead wasn't me whipping my magic blood of Jesus wand out and killing each issue one by one in the counseling room. No, as we were sitting together, we started to realize that the thing was dead 2,000 years ago. And it took me years to catch on to the fact that we were not killing each individual thing, but that we were just recognizing that that entire old man died 2,000 years ago. And the only inner healing that was going on was just catching up to the facts that we were healed, realizing by faith that something had already taken place, that we had arrived before we started. Perhaps the biggest obstacle to the renewal of the mind is people's idea that they have to be fixed up. And it negates the finished work of the cross, which is the very power of God for their deliverance. And thinking that they're bound, that they stayed up tied in these invisible cords. And the more they think they need to be fixed, the more those lies are strengthened. So this is the biggest problem with inner healing programs. The very reason they're coming is to get fixed, which is the very thing that the gospel did. So at the end of the day, it's so simple, okay? It's finished. Why do we complicate things? We complicate things because it is too simple. It is too good to be true. And let me tell you something. This is not delusion. I acknowledge that you may be going through something, but the very answer to your problem is appealing to the higher reality that this so-called problem has already been eradicated. We see people liberated from homosexuality, drug abuse, depression, bad marriages, all kinds of things precisely because of this message. After they spent years of trying to fix up something that was already fixed, I would conservatively put the number into the thousands of people when they realize the truth of who they are in Christ, rather than trying to become that new man, their freedom effortlessly manifested. They realize they are a new man. It doesn't come through demon chasing, through curse breaking, through inner vow reversing, through bitter root digging, etc. It comes through a revelation. The old is already gone. The new is already come. Whether you know it or not, whether you feel it or not, whether you even believe it or not, your believing it just allows you to enjoy it and manifest it. There is a massive reformation and a God-breathed upheaval in the charismatic stream right now because people are fed up with trying to fix up this old man, clean up this old man. People are realizing how they've been duped by this Galatian bewitchment and trying to fix something that's been fixed. And people often assume that in saying this, that we're not being sensitive. That we're saying to people who are still struggling with things, that we're saying, look, if you don't get fixed up when you get saved, then tough luck. Okay, look, this is a false argument that is built on a straw man. We are not saying shame on you if you're still struggling. What we're saying is you don't have to struggle anymore. And we're not heaping condemnation on you if you are. If you do keep struggling after that, the answer is still going to be the same. Look, you don't have to struggle anymore. Do you feel condemned if I say you don't have to struggle anymore, that your struggling is in vain? Would you rather me preach bad news, that you can expect to struggle the rest of your life as God gruelingly purges you of evil? Here's the thing, breakthrough is not about timing. It is not about a one-time experience at your point of conversion, and it is not about a lifelong process either. It is about a mystical reality 2,000 years ago. As a matter of fact, from the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, a reality outside of time and space. He changed your identity. The issue is not when, the issue is who. Do you realize you do not have to live by that lie existence any longer, not one more day. The issue is who. Of course, we experience this over time, but the fact remains the same. Time doesn't fix us up. Jesus did. So we drink from Him. We drink from His work. The process, if there is a process, yes, there is a process. It is about no longer expecting the negative, no longer thinking the negative, but trusting in a higher reality, not expecting poverty, sickness, addiction, just because that's all you've known and that's all your grandpappy knew. Look, the fact is you don't have to dig around looking for the root of all your problems. The root goes way back to Adam. I'll tell you where the root started, okay? Don't be problem-oriented. Don't be problem-focused, okay? The fact is you have the antidote. The last Adam came, severed sinfulness itself at the root. He didn't come to break your curses one by one. He broke something called the curse. And now we can focus on the positive, focus on the good. Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, admirable, is if anything's excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Okay, let's take thoughts captive. That's what the renewal of the mind is. No longer walking around in depression trying to look for problems, but looking at the positive, looking at the God stuff, looking at the glory, looking on earth as it is in heaven. That Eden reality of walking in the pleasure and the cool of the day in our union with Him. That's the renewal of the mind. It's a discovery of what He's done. Yes, there is a process of discovery. This is not a negative process of peeling back the onion layers of sin and curses. Okay, that's not what the process is. There is a process of opening up. It's a process of peeling open my Christmas presents. Whoa, there's a lot of glory in there. Whoa, you mean you did that? Whoa, you mean I'm that perfect? Wow, you mean there's that much glory? There's a lot of whack. There's a lot of miracle working power. That's what the process is. It's discovering the truth of the new man. Also, I want to say this. We are not attaching healing to a fixed point in time. I want to re-emphasize this. This is not about the one-time altar call, and it is not about fixed up overtime in the prayer counseling room. Both of these perspectives are skewed. We're attaching healing to the person, to the work of Christ. This is not just semantics. This is not just theological mumbo jumbo. You were fixed up even before you were saved, before your altar call, okay? Even your salvation experience was not the thing that fixed you up. Jesus is the one who fixed you up. You just realized it at some point. And perhaps it was a sudden ecstatic awareness that causes you to start manifesting it. But the fact is it happened 2,000 years ago. Your healing is not about a one-time encounter, not about a process in time. It is about attaching our identity to reality. And reality is not about becoming holy or becoming sons or becoming loved. It is about believing that we already are all of these things. Now, tons of Christians, obviously, they don't believe the truth about who they are. And the answer is not to have them systematically try to become who they are, thus always dangling in front of them a carrot that they will never catch. Yes, we love on people who don't get it. Yes, we spend time with them. But the answer is to continually show them that their hurts, their traumas, their addictions have already been destroyed on the cross. It's not about continually trying to kill them off. And whether or not they know it, whether or not they feel it, whether or not they believe it, they've already been made whole. And as we speak the word, faith comes by hearing, and then, whoa, the response comes, the manifestation comes. We treat them like they're whole, not like they are projects. When you know who you are, holy, righteous, you effortlessly manifest it. And I don't mean just an intellectual knowing of who you are. That's not what I mean when I say knowing. We're not Gnostics, okay? Intellect doesn't save you. Knowing doesn't save you. Jesus does. Faith is a heart knowing. It's about trust. It's about a deep, deep trusting and that He finished the job. And look, I am adamant on seeing people liberated from their attempts at liberating themselves, which is the very thing that's keeping them into bondage. Does that mean that we toss people to the side when they don't get it, or that we just criticize individuals who don't get it? No way. Remember, my 800 number, 877 Die Daily. We didn't always get it ourselves, okay? But we have to encourage people in the truth and no longer coddle these idols of self-effort at cleaning ourselves up. We're not going to coddle the idea that the cross was not enough. We're not going to coddle these lies that keep people in this self-imposed bondage. A lie only has the power to the degree which you believe it. God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.
Lord, I need laughing.
It's one thing to hear it teach online, but we encourage you to come and get jacked up in an atmosphere of glory at one of our mystical schools. We're coming to Texas this summer in August 3rd through 5th to Austin. Come get a glory overdose, and I'm talking too much grace. 3 days of downloads, impartation. Also, our Southern California school. It's August 24 through 26. The schools are always evolving, and so the gospel junkies, they keep coming back for more. Also, we have 2 schools coming to the UK. Our Scotland school will be this summer in August. It's going to be absolutely wild. And you'll also want to join us in London in October. Now, the UK schools always sell out, so buy extra tickets for your buddies. You can hawk them on Craigslist. Sign up now. All right. We'll also be in Germany in September. This will be translated into German, and I will be wearing lederhosen. So if you're in Europe, you'll want to come for that one. And then finally, we'll be back in the Northwest for 3 days of activation in the grace message, supernatural Christianity. It's going to be our Portland school. It's coming up this fall in November. You don't want to miss out on that one. And anywhere you are around the world, you can find out about our schools at thenewmystics.com/schools. We have a whole new list of schools online for the coming year. And if you're anywhere in Australia or New Zealand, you'll want to join us for our Joy Clinic. Now, this thing's already filling up. It's coming to 5 cities down under, so space will be limited. Finally, the boys are getting back together for a wild, no-holds-barred glory party at Slosh Fest Reloaded with myself and Dave Vaughn. This is coming to 4 regions of the U.S. and well worth a trek to the region nearest you. The West Coast will be Santa Cruz, California. If you're in the South, come to Gadsden, Alabama. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, join us in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And if you're on the East Coast, Wilmington, Delaware. SloshFest.com. Register.